What does it mean to be French? It means remembering those who fought to protect our freedom and culture during the bleakest hours of our history and against destructive ideas personified by one evil man. Dusk is falling on the 20th century and darkness covers the country. Time is of the essence. For the past 20 years, the imperialistic Americans have been subtly poisoning French people with their delicacies. The very fabric of our society is threatened by ruthless capitalism. Our way of life is in danger, threatened by cardiovascular diseases, diabetes, and bad fashion. But not to worry, for brave warriors riding their unwavering mounts of steel are coming to rescue us. So, the story takes place during the summer of 1999 in the city of Millau and is one of the many great tales of civil disobedience we have in this country. That's the fancy term for when the French go guerrilla mode on some private property. It all starts in July. While the world is freaking out about Y2K, impending total technological collapse and the machine Armageddon, 7 dudes are chilling outside of a cafe. They are in the village of Saint-Afrique. Yes, we do have a village literally called Saint Africa with 2 F's in the French countryside, don't question it. There's 1 F for Africa and another F in chat for Africa. It's fine. Anyway, these 7 men are farmers and they are angry, but more importantly, they are unionized. There is a dispute at the moment between the EU and the USA. You see, in America, they feed growth hormones to beef. That makes them, according to the average British man, completely
natural. I am natural. 100% natural.
The EU is concerned about something called the well-being of the people, which is communism, so they banned imports of this meat. In response, the USA used careful diplomacy and level-headedness by raising tariffs on imported European goods such as cheese. Notably, the blue cheese Roquefort was heavily affected. This will not do.
Stop right there!
Our French lineage urges us to spread the seeds of a culture as deep as possible, and our succulent, we swear perfectly fit for consumption rotting blue goat cheese even deeper. Clearly, our transatlantic friends had lost their collective mind under the cruel summer sun, for this was the first time this administration was against providing the people with some white cheese. So, France and the other EU countries did what they do best. Writing a strongly worded formal complaint, they went to the World Trade Organization in order to resolve the situation. But you see, the EU isn't always the most efficient. It's like a cool rock band, but we have a lot of bass players. So the WTO basically told them to get fucked and it locked itself back in its room, probably to play StarCraft or something. And that is where we circle back to our 7 comrades, pondering while smoking their pipes and Gauloise cigarettes. What will they do with all this cheese? What can they do? This is a perfect time to talk about stereotypes. The Americans used the power of capitalism to throw a hissy fit again, and now people on the other side of the world were literally and figuratively paying the price. And then, an idea. I know, let's destroy something. Isn't that the plan anyway? Yes, but I mean let's really do it this time, like with fires, paralyzing the country, throwing shit in the streets and stuff. Guys, stop. This is too important. We cannot use the usual peaceful method this time. We have to use violence. You mean by talking to them and showing the Americans that they are missing out on all this cheese? Alright. But how can we do that? None of us speak English. We have to use a language they understand that doesn't require words. Let's get the Americans' attention by combining 2 of their favorite things, fast food and violence. I think I know what you mean. There's a McDonald's being built in Millau. Are you seriously suggesting to destroy something that barely counts as a building for something that barely counts as a restaurant to get the attention of the press, the government of the most powerful economy and military in the world,
as well as the international body governing world trade?
Yeah? Brilliant! Meet José Bové, local farmer, union leader, pipe smoker, and the man who became the face of these events. So, José and his comrades hold a press conference and basically said, okay, so if you do not buy our cheese on the 12th of August, we're going to destroy that McDonald's right there. We want this peaceful destruction of private property to go as smoothly as possible. So please, no workers on site and no tools left lying around. We don't want anyone to get hurt. That's nothing unusual for French news. Threats of violence are usually held between calls for strikes and reports of local frogs sighting. In the USA, white people did not crave cheese as they do nowadays, so no takers. However, with his little stunt, he attracted as many unwanted eyes as a miner walking past the Discord booth at VidCon. The French secret services came to him and basically said, but sadly they were left unread. So on the 12th at 11 AM, 300 farmers arrived. Some were walking, others were riding their beautiful steel mounts, but all were heading as one shining beacon on the path of the righteous, because they knew that on that day, destiny waited for no one except for them. And so they started tearing shit down. It was a party, with some people handing out Roquefort toasts, while others handed knuckle sandwiches to the building. Oh, and the owner of the restaurant was here as well. He was angry, but could not really do anything about it. When the dust literally settled, the cost of the destruction amounted to roughly 120,000 euros, or 200 billion euros in today's money. Then everybody just left. In France, the 15th of August is like a mega holiday. Like, nobody works. The economy is on halt. The country effectively dies. If you're a foreigner and come to visit at this time, it will make you ask questions like why and how and is this going to last forever? Please, I'm scared. So yeah, it's super dead. Naturally, a few days later, on the 19th, José was on holiday, taking it easy after a good day of hard work fighting the evils of globalization.
You're Chinese.
Sadly, his breakfast was cut short when he heard on the radio that 4 of his comrades had been arrested. He surrenders himself immediately in front of the press and hundreds of sympathizers. Like his friends, José was now under arrest, but as they were let go, he was kept detained. You see, we've established that he can be somewhat of a rowdy boy, and he was already in trouble for previously destroying a GMO field. He had a 15,000 euro bail on his head, but refused to pay it. So a fundraising campaign was launched, and a large portion of it was paid by an American union, which in a sense is poetic since he was effectively bailed out by the Americans. Maybe the true friends were bears we paid along the way. His trial was held 10 months later on the 30th of June 2000. But are we really at a point in the history of our great country where someone has to face trial for such acts? After all, hating on America is a long-lasting French tradition.
Base?
Can you really sentence a man for
guilty?
To the appeal then, should we really condemn the use of the France given right of talking
Still guilty.
In 2001, José was convicted and sentenced to 3 months in prison. During this entire ordeal, José became a controversial national figure and an internationally recognized face of alter globalism. Some international publications painted him as a national hero, but he never was universally liked. However, pissing off the Americans, now that, everybody liked that. It did not prevent more and more French people to eat at McDonald's every year though, but it was still very funny. Oh, and the one in Millau that got destroyed, yeah, it opened at the expected date anyway, so there's that. So what's the takeaway here? What have we learned?
I guess we learned not to do it again.
Yes, sir.
Well, to this day, these events are still contentious. Some say it was a dismantling of the building backed by a worthy cause, while for others it was blind destruction. Between 2009 and 2019, José served in the European Parliament, representing true French values of burning shit down. So he still had support. But in Europe, sending turbulent characters to the Parliament is nothing new, and that too is always pretty funny. In the end, I guess the lesson is Nothing really.
I have learned absolutely nothing.
The only silver lining I see is the greasy olive branch extended by McDonald's when they introduced the blue cheese and bacon, burying their hatchet and reuniting French culture with corporate interest. And with that, there never was any more problem for the fast food giant in France for the rest of time. Don't forget to pay your taxes by subscribing so the government can fund the next video. Vive la République et vive la France!